Hey, Owen here, and today I'm going to be weathering the 1/35th scale Tamiya Sherman Firefly. I mixed Humbrol 33 black with 29 dark earth to create a dark brown wash for the tracks. I also applied this wash to the lower hull. I rubbed some burnt sienna into the tracks with my fingers to give a slightly rusted look to the metal. Once this had dried, I stippled on some Humbrol 98 chocolate to add more colour variation. The tracks were then dry brushed with Humbrol 53 gunmetal to make the tracks look worn where they would have rubbed the road and wheels. To make the markings look more worn, I mixed some Humbrol 117 US light green and 86 light olive to match the colour of the paintwork, and then stippled this on. I added some Humbrol 24 Trainer Yellow to the 117 and 86 mixture and dotted this around the tank to create little spots of discoloration. I smudged the paint with my fingers to blend it in. I kept paint shipping to a minimum and mixed Humbrol 53 and 33 to make a dark silver. I stippled this along the edges of some of the hatches and on some of the handles on the turret. I decided to experiment with using watercolour paint for washes instead of my usual chalk wash mixture. I mixed various shades of brown and applied them to the model, waiting for each coat to dry before applying the next one, as the colours blended if they were still wet. Looking at reference photos, a lot of Shermans got very dusty all down the front and around the back, so I applied the wash to these areas. I also flicked the paint onto the model to create a splattered mud effect. I really regretted this stage after I did it. I decided to try dry brushing acrylic paint onto the tank to create a dusty look. However, in my opinion, this did not look good, as the paint built up on the vertices instead of in the cracks where dust would naturally build up, and it also picked out little imperfections in the paintwork. Overall, I didn't think this looked realistic at all, and I spend a lot of the rest of the video trying to correct it. My first attempt to correct it was to try and blend it in by applying a watercolour wash over the dusting. I think this actually made it look worse though. Maybe a wash of the watered down acrylic paint mixture would have been a better idea. By this point I was worried I had ruined the model. I applied another brown wash, but after still not being happy with it, I applied thinned Humbrol 86 over the dirt to try and remove it. However, I didn't film this part. I dry brushed Humbrol 94 brown yellow and 29 onto the model to try and create some variation in the colour of the mud. I should have applied Humbrol 29 first and then 94, as Humbrol 94 is more like the colour of fresh dust. However, I applied 94 first followed by 29 and it ended up looking weird and unrealistic. Another, probably better option would have been to apply 2 shades of brown that were much more similar in colour. I gave the tracks another dry brush of Humbrol 53 gunmetal before attaching them to the model. I used normal polycement glue to join the tracks. Headlights and the searchlight were painted Humbrol 11 silver inside to make them look reflective, and the little light at the back was painted Humbrol 60 scarlet. The tiny clear lenses were attached with PVA glue, as attaching them with polycement glue would have made the clear plastic turn foggy. The front of the tank was given another brown watercolour wash to tone it down and add some mud to the headlights. I painted the spare track again to remove the traces of the unrealistic dry brushing. The backs of the periscopes were painted Humbrol 11, so when you look into them they look reflective inside. This was then covered up with Humbrol 86 and an olive drab colour. As I had used acrylic paint, once it had dried I was able to gently scratch off any mess with a sharpened piece of sprue. I took out the opaque plastic periscopes and now glued in the clear plastic ones with PVA glue. I flicked some more brown watercolour paint onto the front of the tank, and with that I decided to call the model complete. So here is the finished Sherman. Weathering this has been a bit of a roller coaster, to be honest. I said initially that I wasn't going to overdo it, but then when I added that dry brush dust to the front, I honestly thought I had ruined it, like beyond saving, and I felt so bad because I had worked really hard on getting that painting to look quite realistic, and then it just looked rubbish. I don't know if it looks better on camera, but in real life it didn't look good, so I felt terrible. But I think I've rescued it now and I'm happy with it. I think it probably is my best work to date, so I'm pleased. But yeah, with weathering it's a bit of trial and error. You sort of have to do it and see what it looks like, and there's no set way of doing it. I think sometimes with weathering it's difficult to know when to stop. And I wanted this one to look like it's just been in use for a few months or something. It's not got too heavily damaged, and I think I've achieved that, so I'm pleased with it. So I hope you've enjoyed this series of videos on the Sherman Firefly. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.